Welcome back. You got Will and I Man here from the Block Runner, and today we should talk about Robinhood.
Again.
Yeah,
updates are happening. There's activities brewing.
Yeah, we're looking at a roller coaster here.
It's going the wrong way, though.
Yeah, it is.
So what does that mean?
Yeah, so let's take a look at this. So I believe the Robinhood chain will establish itself as the top ETH L2 in the next 1 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said from day one, the initial 90% meme-fueled data tells us little about its true starting position or its beneficiaries. Be wary of anyone who spent weeks telling you otherwise.
Yeah, so all he's saying is we should have all expected this, right? Like after the initial surge of meme coinery and wave of attention, you would see a down spiral of on-chain activity, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean...
Yeah, the whole chain is useless.
In a lot of cases, it does for a lot of chains, right? Because of the absence of
novelty,
something new,
yeah.
something that can actually keep the chain relevant for the long term, right? As we've talked about in our previous Robinhood videos, clearly that's not the case here. There is objectively something new to play around with on this chain, even though this is a product that can't exist on every other chain. Like there's a cultural nexus kind of like forming around the prospects of what this new product is and how it can be utilized on chain, right? So what are we talking about? What is that thing? Tokenized equities or tokenized RWAs, really.
Yeah.
Because that includes commodities like gold, silver,
oil.
Yeah, all that stuff, right?
All right, so Riley here, total tokenized value is climbing steadily on Robinhood chain, just shy of 30 million in stock tokens.
Yeah, so this gave me like flashbacks, like Vietnam flashbacks to like when we were first talking about NFTs, right? And man, we were looking at like peanut numbers, and when we were first looking at like ordinals and BRC20s and shit, it's like, man, these numbers are peanuts, dude. But like, you gotta like extrapolate, like how much higher can this number get?
Yeah. So how much is all like equities altogether? How much is it worth?
Over 100 trillion.
Yeah. So we're talking about $30 million in tokenized equities out of a pool of 100 trillion.
Yeah. So it's like, clearly there's room for upside here.
Yeah.
Upside growth. But nonetheless, this is a very low number in the context of like what's available. So like that's a frame of reference of like where we are in this very specific market demographic.
Yeah, and there's also tailwinds. The government is essentially telling everybody that all equity should be on chain, right? And they have like a kind of a vested interest in doing that, so they can push stablecoins and essentially debt to the entire planet. Yeah,
that's true. And I was listening to one of Elon's most recent interviews, the one where it's like, he crashed out in the middle of it.
I haven't finished watching it.
No? Well, like somewhere towards like, the first quarter of it or first third of it, he was talking about SpaceX and the IPO and everything. And he was kind of verbalizing his discontent with this institutional investors versus retail investors, right?
Yeah.
Just because, the time horizon expectations around SpaceX and its like performative abilities, it's like much grander than like a typical company.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 5, 10, 20-year time horizons to complete like major milestone objectives that can really ratchet up the value of that company, right? And it's like institutional investors, they don't have that kind of like capacity.
Time horizon.
Yeah, because they have like performance reviews quarterly or, annually based on like how their portfolios perform. So it's like they have to make assessments now, not like 20 years into the future, right?
Correct, yeah.
But if you're a retail investor, you're not locked into that, right?
Yeah.
So you can buy things, you can follow along a company's journey for the next 10 to 20 years, right? But the thing here is like, how do we get actual retail partaking into these like company journeys, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I feel like startups should be tokenized early on too, because I remember when Tesla started, and that was right after Elon sold PayPal. So he had like $30 million. He started 2 companies, SpaceX and Tesla. And like there was no way to get exposure to any of that stuff, even though you might have believed in the guy.
Right.
And so it's like, how does one like partake here?
Well, that's a different problem, right?
It is, yeah. But still, like we need tokenized everything.
For sure, but we need new onboarding methodologies, I think, is what he's kind of alluding to. We need new mechanisms, new ways to get retail exposed to these types of companies that he's building, like even a company that IPOs at $1 trillion valuation, if he completes these milestone objectives, the valuation can potentially 100x from there.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about colonizing a whole other planet.
Yeah.
What's the value of that, depending on what are the resources over there?
Yeah.
The interchange commerce between these planets, like you can't even pin a value to that.
Yeah.
But the point is, like, if you're not exposed to that through these vehicles called company shares, like, you're literally missing out on the whole like upside of the economy. And that's been like humanity's problem.
Yeah. So Elon is on the side of retail because they have a longer time horizon rather than these like institutional investors.
Right. So I feel like that. So him acknowledging like that's a problem is like, we need more retail in the market itself. Like everything governed by institutional investors is not good for companies like his own. Right. So here we are. We've got Robinhood. They've just introduced tokenized stocks, which is now they've become wieldable tools for people like us or others who are building Onchain that can create these new mechanisms that onboard retail participants and give them exposure to these, these companies on big missions.
That's right? The value of tokenizing anything, is that these are composable assets. You can use DeFi, you can put them in games.
Yeah.
You could get crazy with it, but you can't do that with just stocks.
You can't. Yeah, you literally can only go to Robinhood and buy one.
Yeah, that's it.
And if you look at the dividend yield of like that, like it's not even like truly an attractive thing. So that's the point. That's kind of like the underlying thesis, like why Robinhood matters. It's like if anything of interest is ever going to be cooked up here that's going to attract retail the way NFTs attracted retail, it most likely will concoct from within these grounds.
Yeah, right? Yeah, agreed. Robinhood just deployed 100 more stock tokens on Robinhood chain, including this Gold Trust. We have Adobe. We got IBM. We got iShares. We have iShares from India, ETF. We have Galaxy Digital, Figma, and Trump Media Technology Group.
Yeah, that one stood out to me just because it's like an obvious banger of an equity, right? Just the memeability of it, the culture you could build around, just Trump, and the possibility of, if you succeed at building something of notability around that equity, of him noticing and like promoting it through a tweet or something like that. It's like,
and then Trump has a huge following, right? And obviously outside of the president, but he's got like diehards. Right. Imagine if the diehards had access to a meme like actually cultivated from the ground up, not from the top down.
There's been rumors kind of like floating around that there's going to be another Trump coin. It's, like not necessarily pure meme coin, but something from the Trump family on Robinhood. I don't know where those rumors kind of festered from, but the fact that got listed might actually back that claim. It's like because Trump's kids are clearly like deep into crypto. They made like $1.5 billion
that's right
last year. So there's possible like you might see a major Trump cook on the way.
I'm waiting, dude.
What do you think? Is that bullish if that happens?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Especially now, everything's down. Why not, right?
Yeah.
All right, we got another tweet. Robinhood chain won't be a serious competitor to Solana in the meme coin space beyond the short term, and that's a good thing. Believing otherwise means you've lost sight of how the chain's unique identity always becomes clearer over time. So this is kind of like a long take. This is sort of follows our thesis, is that when you look at a chain that comes into the market, you got to look at what it brings to the table. Yeah. And in the case of Robinhood, it's RWAs. Mm-hmm. And so right now it's like sort of meme heavy right now for Robinhood, but anyone who concocts a recipe that involves RWAs has probably a longer lifespan than just like a regular meme.
Yeah, and he references base, right? Like initial base period was like, flagship memes took off and they became cultural. But over time, like that activity trickled away. But the things that remained was, the native stuff, which was like virtuals,
Venice, Friendtech, Degen, Zora, Banker, Farcaster.
Yeah, so social fi and AI, like that became Base's like identity, right? And all the builders in that ecosystem, that's what they emphasize and try to iterate around. So it's like expect a similar, story for Robinhood. Like, you're going to have that initial surge of meme coins. We kind of already seen that.
Yeah.
The things that are going to stick around and like have, because virtuals was a beast, a multi-billion-dollar, hit So something like that will emerge from Robinhood, but it's probably not going to be AI or SocialFi. It's going to be something native to that chain.
Yeah, agreed.
A new narrative.
All right, got another tweet here. It says, Vlad said on an earnings call, one thing that hasn't changed is Robinhood exists to make everyone an owner. It says the app itself getting retail across the U.S. and other developed markets comfortable investing in holding assets, commission-free to get people in the door, and then fractional reserve shares. And then IPO, access to 2021, letting retail buy in the moment at the company, makes the leap from private to public. And then Robinhood Ventures Fund listing a portfolio of private companies on the New York Stock Exchange so anyone can get exposure without an accreditation letter. And then Trump accounts. So all this is coming to Robinhood. And now Robinhood chain and stock tokens eligible in 120 plus countries, 200 plus U.S. equities and ETFs, tradable around the clock, composable with the rest of on-chain finance. It says it's been a pleasure to work with Robinhood on this journey, and Rialto and launch on Varo exists to carry that access the rest of the way. So Rialto is super interesting because they sort of enable access to these like on-chain equities.
Yeah, through I think issuance. So it's like, Robinhood owns all these shares, like a pretty large portion of them, but they have conduits on chain, Rialto, and who knows if there's others out there that have like the right credentials, I guess, to become issuers of tokenized shares. So they have like API structures for builders. Like if you need that, then you connect to that and you can issue new stock tokens basically. So
right.
It's important infrastructure, but the point here being like clearly Robinhood has a pretty long standing track record for supporting like the mass, reachability of equities beyond like just Wall Street, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that is their claim of fame. Like without Robinhood, GME never would have happened, right?
Yeah.
The GameStop run up and that onboarded a lot of retail like enthusiasm around stocks. I don't know if you remember that movie. What was it called? Dumb Money?
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah, it's like regular people, right? Nurses, fucking repairmen, like people who typically don't. For most of our lives, we considered the stock market like something outside of our reach.
Yeah.
Because for most of our lives, it was. Like, I remember in my early 20s, I wanted to get in. I had to, like, open a brokerage account at a physical retail store, bring them a check, and, try and, speculate on the market. Like, who the fuck's going to do that?
Yeah.
Not most people, right? So, like, they made it intentionally difficult for the masses to participate. And Robinhood definitely cracked through that. So
yeah.
So what does all that mean? It just means, lock in for this reason, because retail is like everybody on earth and the stock market is $100 trillion market.
That's right. Yeah. So one of the bigger projects here on Robinhood is Stonkbrokers.
Yeah.
Look at that performance. 32 million right now.
That's a nice chart. So I think we're probably going to end up making regular videos for this project just because it's doing well.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get the founder as well on the podcast.
Yeah, it represents again like what we're talking about. Like it is the most novel cook so far that like really exemplifies all the innate values of this chain, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that you could create something that's like crypto native, right? NFTs, meme coin speculation, and then like use that superpower of like velocity and capital aggregation, and then like distribute something of hardness like a stock or a commodity.
Yeah.
So like that's a whole new experience people aren't used to when they interact with crypto, right? It's like typically crypto gets you more crypto.
Yeah.
It's never been like dabble in crypto and like you're setting yourself up for retirement. Actually, right? That's
with hard assets. Yeah.
That's the new experience.
All right, so we got a tweet here from Cook. It says Stonkbrokers is probably going to end up in the news. It's the only thing in crypto right now that's net new that has a chance to pull TradFi bro normie attention. I think I have once again found the cycle run early. No, I did not just find it. Yes, I put information on Twitter last, and yes, I put it on the Cook letter first.
Yeah, we don't have to plug his damn letter.
Yeah.
The point is, it's like people are slowly picking up on this idea. Like, yeah, this is one of the few net new projects in the space, right?
Yeah. All right. So Here's some alpha. Stonkbroker NFT costs $7,152. It carried 666,666 tokens, but you have to pay 10% tax on the NFT to convert it into tokens. NFTs are deflationary, and 754 are already locked forever. You can only earn passive stocks and revenue from platform via activated brokers. In short, these NFTs are heavily mispriced right now, with Stonkbroker at 30 million market cap.
It's interesting. I mean, that's a pretty high floor price, but you make a good case argument that, yeah, these are different than your standard NFT, meaning like this is a legitimate utility NFT, right? Like you need it for something.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're like eroding away, like the supply of them over time, definitely makes the ones that haven't eroded away like that much more valuable.
Right.
And it's all contingent on this project's ability to continue to bolster the flywheel of stock token purchasing, right?
Yeah, which there's several revenues in the works for that.
Yeah.
Says, even Ansem here, appreciate Stonkbroker. Honestly, how can you not? Tomorrow is finally the big day. Stonk launcher goes live. And yes, I'll probably have to pull an all-nighter, but it's definitely be worth it. For anyone discovering the project today, here's why I believe this is one of the most innovative ecosystems being built in Web3. Says, it's a DeFi ecosystem built on Robinhood chain with every product feeds the next, creating the flywheel that continuously strengthens the entire protocol. The first major milestone arrives tomorrow with Stonk Launcher. Anyone will be able to launch a token using multiple launch models, including fixed price launches, bonding curves, custom launches, automatic Uniswap v3, liquidity, integrated staking, and a bunch more. So every launch generates protocol fees. 70% of those fees flow directly into the stock booster pot.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the site now. So by the way, by the time you guys are watching this, might be a day into the future than when we're recording it. But right now, I went to their site. It says the box is open now. So I think the Stonk launcher is literally launching as we record.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah, by the time you guys watch this, it will have been live for about 24 hours. So, but I'm looking at it, even though it says it's open, there's nothing here yet. So they may have run into, launch hiccups, but we'll see. And we'll do a further update next week about, what happens.
Okay. So the stock launcher went live with a special pre-launch incubator, which is called DERP. It says the same proofs create a sellable, economically secured entropy product. Fees permanently back to rising redemption floors, usage, which is trading plus games, recycle tokens into future mining pools. So DERP is like this, simple protocol using SHA-256, like proof of work, that allows any computer to generate a random number. And so they incentivize the generation of random numbers to be used as like a composable aspect to any protocol.
Right.
And so DERP is a representation of that, and it's the first to launch on.
Yeah, they say pre-launch, so I don't know exactly how that came about. Like if
I think Simple Farmer's doing it. No.
Well, he would have to have some sort of connection to whoever founded this project, because how do you access a pre-launch before everybody else? I don't know. This could just be like, of course, every launch pad needs its runner. It needs its like showcase demonstration of like why the launch pad's unique. So for sure, there's probably some sort of connection between this founder and Simple Farmer, right?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, it's launched. It's doing its thing. It's kind of, again, demonstrating something unique and novel here.
Yeah. I want to see if there's something else. Okay, let's continue on here. Stonk Pit. This is where you actually go and generate these random numbers. It says, grab a broker, clock it in, your browser mines, you print DERP. That simple. Brokers are sold out. Pick one in the secondary or bridge a mine boy over from Ape Chain.
Yeah. And
then DERP stands for decentralized entropy from recycled proofs.
Yeah, so this requires two NFTs, right? The Stonkbroker itself, which are on Robinhood, and some NFTs that are currently on Ape Chain called Mine Boys. You got to literally bridge it over, pair the two together, like get this whole thing started that way, right? Which is interesting. A lot of this is coming from Ape Chain.
Yeah.
There was something happening there that now is not happening there. It's coming to Robinhood, right?
That's right. All right, let's take a look at this long tweet here.
I think this just explains what's happening. So, yeah, you guys read this. It's obviously going to take us too long to go through. If you want to understand what the first launched project from Stonk Launcher is all about, this is your source.
Yeah. And the price here is at 4 million market cap. It went as high as 7 million.
Oh, did it recently?
No, this was a few days ago. Or
okay.
no, actually July 29th.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
so this thing is freshly launched. So, yeah, again, whether or not this will be the runner of their launchpad, I mean, it's pretty important for the Stonkbroker project itself that something does, right? Because if you're going to compete amongst the other launchpads on Robinhood, like Pawns, and really it's just Pawns right now.
yeah.
They have like 70% of the market share. I don't know. The launchpad has to do something unique. Right?
Yeah.
You would imagine.
I would think so, yeah.
And if it manages to do that, then that's, revenue. Pawns is making like $100,000 to $200,000 a day.
Yeah.
That's revenue that can be utilized to buy more stock tokens.
Yeah, absolutely.
To stockbrokers. So,
yeah.
We'll see.
All right. Well, this isn't the only thing happening. So, yesterday we did a video on FWA, which is on Ethereum. And there's another project on Ethereum that is pretty interesting. It's called Programmable.
Right.
It says launch tokens that work the way you imagine.
Very cute, dude.
Yeah.
This is the cutest site I've ever seen.
Yeah, there's a lot of flowers here.
Yeah.
And so this is essentially a launchpad
on Ethereum. That's very much like emphasis around V4 hooks on Uniswap. So there's like a much more. All of a sudden, this isn't like a new thing, a feature to Uniswap. It's been around for like over a year, I think. But because of FWA, it's got a lot of people noticing like the usefulness of the V4 hooks itself. So somebody's kind of like building a launch pad around it to kind of demonstrate the impact or the usefulness of these V4 hooks. And I guess the first iteration of that is pairing tokens to, guess what? Stock tokens.
Yep.
And the first one to do that looks like this Stonks coin right here.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So there's a tweet after this that kind of like backs that up.
Yeah, Stonks is live on Ethereum, a Uniswap V4 token with one twist that changes the whole game. Instead of pairing ETH, Stonks is pairing with SPY, the tokenized S&P 500.
Yeah, so I mean, there you go, dude. Festering is happening, right?
Yeah, Programmable will just unlock the new launch model. Stock paired is now live. Yeah, so
this isn't obviously, like we said, Robinhood exclusive. The ability to pair things to stocks or to acquire stock tokens through some mechanism and distribute them to holders. This is not going to be a Robinhood only thing.
Yeah, correct.
This is going to be a ubiquitous like activity on chain in most likely scenarios, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, I find their design interesting, like interesting choice here.
What does interesting mean? What's so interesting about this, dude?
It's definitely not. It doesn't give me the crypto vibes.
No? Not enough like degen?
Definitely not.
Well, maybe this is what we need right now, dude. Like
touch grass?
Yeah, flower power. Yeah. It's just to like, calm our nerves down a bit.
Yeah, so if you wanted to know like how big of a deal is Stonkbrokers, well, here's the NFTs on CoinGecko, and it just broke top 10.
Yeah, this brings me another flashback to Ordinal's days when we were seeing like the Ordinal collections like Node Monks and Bitcoin Puppets and eventually Bitmap, stuff like that, starting to creep its way up the NFT leaderboard, right? And we're like, damn, dude, one day it might flip CryptoPunk. I don't know where those Bitcoin assets are today. They're much harder to find, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, it's kind of like history's rhyming. Oh, I saw a Bitcoin Puppet.
Yeah, it's Taproot.
Yeah, there they are. There's our old little Ordinal lads. They're still there. Now they're not like top 10 like they were at their peak. But the point is, this is Robinhood, making its presence be known. Like how high will it climb up that ladder? Again, it's very dependent on the continuation of this meta kind of working out, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's been the Block Runner here. We've been talking about Robinhood. If you guys find anything interesting on Robinhood that you guys want us to talk about, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.